Welcome back. Today I'm going to analyze the Lichess Rapid game that I played last night, and I'm pretty sure that won't take long because I ran the game review and the graph shows that there was one spot that lost me the game. And then I'm going to do some puzzles over on chess.com. But first, let's start with this game. This is the spot on the graph at which the game review says I had 3 blunders here, but this is the one where I went behind and never recovered. What I did play here was h3, and the lines are on, aren't they? Okay. I'm not sure what the problem with h3 was, but it was a blunder, and it's because they can take this knight, but then I could take back. So I'm not sure why that's a big deal. Oh, because that leaves this undefended. Okay, the problem, I guess, right now is that this knight is undefended. All right, and then, yeah. Wait, no, the knight would be defended because the bishop would be here. Okay, so I'm not sure why h3 is a problem. It loses the knight for the bishop, and then the bishop's guarding the knight from there. I'm not sure. Was there a free piece that I missed? I can't get any of those. Don't have any checks. In fact, the only captures that I can make right now are the pawn and that knight, and I'm definitely not going to take the knight with my queen. So should I have taken this? Probably. Let's see, would it have mattered which one I took it with? I think it would have mattered. Okay, I'm going to say I should have taken the pawn with the e knight, because if I took with the f knight, that leaves them attacking this with 2 pieces. So if I did take the pawn, they could take this knight, and if I took back, they could get that knight too. But if I took that pawn with the e knight, they have 1, 2 pieces defending that, or attacking that square, and I have 2 pieces attacking that square. So if I took that, and they took back, then I would take, and if they took, then I would take. All right, that is what it says, but my second best move was knight to f4, because I think I correctly identified this knight as the problem. But just to confirm, how bad would it have been if I had taken the pawn with the other knight? Okay, pretty bad. They would have taken here, and my best move would be to take back, and then they would take. Okay, I think I understand. However, in the heat of the moment, I played this move I took 15 seconds on that? Well, I can't claim that I played it too quickly then, but yeah, it had to be that. Okay, I figured it out, but it took me, 2 minutes? All right. Well, I think I understand. It's pretty complicated. Definitely not an elementary level blunder here. But this is what I played, and their best move by far was to... Oh, I thought they were going to take here. But no, their best move by far is to take the pawn, and they did. Okay. And that leaves this knight undefended. So now I have to get that knight out. But instead I took the bishop, and they took, and then I played knight to f4, but I'm down a pawn and their queen's over here. I had no idea during this point in the game that I was behind. I knew I was down a pawn, but their queen's under attack. It doesn't have a lot of safe places it can go. I guess it can go all the way back. Oh no, that the engine says the best move is queen to f5. But they went here, and I decided to just keep attacking it. Okay, but it just got steadily worse after that. I don't think there were any other places where it really dropped off. It just got -3, -3.5, -4, and so on. All right, let's go solve some puzzles. All right, I have switched websites. I'm going to try to continue my puzzle run number 4, as I've been calling it. I made it to 1800 on my puzzle rating last time. Well, as always, let's look for checks. I have several checks, but I'm pretty sure the queen down to those 2 squares are bad. I can check with the rook or the other rook. I wonder, does it make a difference? And whether or not it makes a difference, what would my opponent play if I checked here with this rook? They can't go here because my queen's cutting off those squares. Can they? They could block with the bishop. Okay. Well, if they block with the bishop, I can take the knight, and their bishop's pinned. But they can block with the knight after I check here on g2, and then my queen's still in danger over here. I can also check with the queen, but I think that's a bad idea because their knight could just take. Does it make any difference if I check with the other rook? I think they can still just move out of the way. It doesn't matter which rook I check with on g1 or g2. I think they just move out of the way, and then I don't have anything. Okay, well, I paused the recording for quite some time and just continued to look. I looked at both of those rooks. I have no idea, what difference it would make. But as I was looking around, I happened to notice this bishop over here. That looks like it's checkmate in the corner. So this was a mate in one that took me a long time. And that's pretty sad. I was focused on the rooks, and once again, I got, stuck on this side of the board, and I just basically ignored those 2 pieces over there. So I need to work better on my board vision, but I'm pretty sure this is just checkmate in the corner. Okay, wow. Well, I'm glad I kept looking instead of just, trying a move, which is what I do sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, and I just play a move. But this time I just kept looking, so I need to stick to my checklist. My checklist is, look for all the checks. And I mentioned those 2 checks at the beginning, but I just said, oh, those look bad. But what I should have done is ask what my opponent would play. And at the time I was thinking they would take here, but they can't. So I need to, follow out the full checklist and ask myself, is that actually a safe check? And it is. Next puzzle. I'm playing with the black pieces. Okay, well, it looks like my opponent is about to promote. They have a bishop guarding that square. I'm not going anywhere just yet. However, their king is trapped because my pawn is cutting off g4. And I was about to say I have mate in 2, which is to drop the rook back to a1 and bring it over. But if I drop the rook back to a1, I think they're going to move their king to h2. So maybe my idea has to be king to g1, threatening the mate here on h2. What do they play if I put my king on g1? They won't be able to check me because I will be off the f file. They won't be able to move their king because my king will be guarding those 2 squares. And I'll be threatening a mate here. Okay, if I play king to g1, I guess they could push. No, if they push, I think if they push the g pawn, then I can just check on a3. And again, my king's cutting off those 2 squares. Their own pawns will be in the way here, and my rook will be coming through there. Can they save it if I play king to g1? I don't think they can. I'm going to play king to g1. Oh, they put the bishop there. Well, I should take the bishop, shouldn't I? Let's see, if I take the bishop, and then they move this pawn, then I don't quite have the mate, but I get a free bishop. Let's see. Do I have any other? I don't think I have anything else. I think I have to take the bishop. I just don't know what I would do after that. And they're still getting close to promotion. Okay. Oh, all right. Oh, now I can take here, and it's mate. Got it. Okay, because my rook protects the pawn. Okay, I don't know if that was their best move there at the end. Let's see. I think I understood all the rest, but here at the end, was g4 their best move? Oh, it didn't matter. It was mate in 1 either way. If they didn't move that, I had mate on h2, which is what looks like all the first suggestions here are. But since they did play that, then I have mate with the pawn. Okay, next puzzle. And I'm playing with the black pieces. Ooh, should I take the queen? I don't know. I'm not in check. If I take the queen and they take, I can't move this pawn because then they come down and promote, and I can't move this pawn because their king's right there. So that makes me want to check down here on h5. Not only is it a skewer against this b pawn, which I do want to get out of the way, but if they're not going to block with their queen, right? Because my pawn's guarding that square. Would that be better? Let's see, what can they play? They could move out of check. Actually, if I play queen to h5 check, they could move over here to protect the b pawn, so the skewer wouldn't matter. But then I could check again behind the pawn, but then they could block. Okay, let's go back to taking, because I said I have to look at all the checks, and this is a check and a capture, so I should look at that first. That puts their king here. I think in that situation, what I would need to do is move my king up so it would be guarding all 3 of these squares on the f file where I can start pushing my pawn. So if I take there, they take back, I move my king here to protect this pawn. What do? Because then they can't stop this pawn. Do they start going forward, or do they start coming down here to try to get this pawn? And if they do, I'm gone. That might be best, but I don't know. Take, move my king up to g4 to protect all the pawn squares. They can't come down toward the pawn this way, but they could go up 1, in which case I can push the pawn. Okay, that's the thing. If they try to follow this pawn, I can get it as far as I can with my king guarding those squares, and then I can abandon it and come get this pawn. But those are my top 2 ideas right now, but I think here they're going to manage to get away somehow or another, so I'm going to take the queen. Okay. Well, I can't move the pawn now because they take it, and then they're between my king and this pawn over here, right? Because that's where I want to get, but I can't because their king's guarding all these squares. If I move my pawn, they're still guarding it, and they can beat me over there. So I think I need to move my king to g4 to protect this pawn's path forward. Again, can't move the a pawn without losing almost immediately. So king to g4 it is. Oh, and they went for it. Okay, now it's a counting game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's my turn. So when I play the first move, I assume they're going to go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to promote before them. Oh, no, I take it, right? I have to. Okay. I didn't know they were going to move the pawn just then, but yeah. Okay. Wow. And the theme was simple. I definitely wouldn't call it simple, but again, they have removed the ability to add or to downvote or upvote existing themes. I would love to add the themes, past pawns, promotion, that sort of thing, but I can't. So next puzzle. All right, we're going to look at checks first, even though my rook is in danger, but we always look at checks first. I have a check with my queen. I'm pretty sure they would take, and then I wouldn't have anything. And I think that's my only check. I could take the knight if we've moved on to captures because I think queen to g5 is my only check, but I'm not going to take the knight because they would take back with their bishop and I think I would be stuck. However, what if I made a preparatory move by putting my knight on f4 so their bishop can't see g5 and then I could check? If I play that, what do they play? Because am I threatening? I think I'm threatening mate because once I check, my bishop's guarding that square. So let's say I play knight to f4, which prepares queen to g5 check. What does my opponent play? Did they take it? If they take it, then I take back, and I'm still preparing this. And I don't care if they take my rook. I think that's it, because I want to put my queen on g5, and that's the only way to do it. And because of where my bishop is, already cutting 2 squares off from the king, I don't know. They might have a way out of it, and if so, we'll find out why. But I'm going to play knight to f4, threatening mate in a couple of moves. Oh, they did take it. Well, it has to be taking back, because now I can't check here. So let's take back. They moved over. I should still move here, or should I take the knight? Because if I, no. I think I should take the knight. Because if I put my queen, yeah, if I put my queen on g5 now, they can put the rook there. That's why they moved the king over. I think I take the knight now that the bishop's gone. Oh, I hope that's right. Oh, good. Yeah, because once I realized the king was, had moved over, they can bring the rook, and then my queen's not doing anything there. And then when it comes back, then the knight escapes. Like to here, I guess. Next puzzle. All right, well, once again, I have a couple of checks. I have the check with the bishop. I have the check with the queen on the same square, f2. Would any of those be better or worse than the others? Can we checkmate them here? If I check with the queen, they're not going to move over because then I would take the rook and that would be checkmate, right? So let's say I check with the queen on f2. So I think they need to take it. But if they take it, their rook is then pinned by my bishop, and then I check on their back rank, and I think that's it. So I think it's a queen sacrifice. And that doesn't work if I start with the bishop because there's nothing over here pinning the rook. Then when I check with the rook, they just drop back. But no, wait, that's mate too. Wait, what? But let's see. If I check here, oh, if I check with the bishop, they can just move over, and I can't take the rook. So I think it has to be the queen. I think I've run into one just like this before, and I thought, oh, I should check with the bishop first, but in that case, it was wrong. And I think the reason was because they can just move over, and then my bishop's pinned. So let's go with the queen. Okay, now their rook is pinned, and that's checkmate. Very nice. Next puzzle. Okay, I'm playing with the white pieces, and their king's here. Is that not checkmate? No, it's not, because they get out here. Okay. Wait, what about this? I check by taking their pawn. Oh, then they go up and take that one, but then I come here, and that's mate. Because right now, if I check with my rook to h2, they can't take this pawn because my rook's looking straight up there. They can't go this way. They could come forward, which would be mate quickly. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't, because they can get out. Yeah, they just come toward me, and then when I go here, they get out. So I think I have to check by taking the g4 pawn first to seal off the entire g-file, and the king can't come out. And my pawn's protecting the rook, so they can come forward or take the pawn, and then this is mate. All right. Wow. Oh, and this one doesn't have a theme. Hey, somebody at chess.com, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the puzzles still don't have themes, still have incorrect themes, and now I don't have a way to add any, so, I don't know. That's probably not very high on chess.com's priority list. Next. Oh, their king has come out for a looky-loo. The king wanted to see what was out in front of those pawns, and it did. All right, well, let's start with checks. That's a check. That's a check. Wait, I think the queen one is mate, because it's protected by the pawn. The queen would be cutting off all of this. My pawns are guarding those 2 squares. This one's not mate because they can go back where they were, the knight check. But queen to f5 is checkmate, right? Mate in 1. Okay. So I'm not sure why their king came out forward like that, but, some people play differently than I do. All right, it's not looking like I'm going to get to 1900 today, but I have time for a few more puzzles, so let's keep going. As always, we'll start with the checks. I have check on queen to h4, which I guess they could just move out of check, but then I could take the bishop. Well, if they moved forward, I would take the bishop, but they could also just block with the pawn. But if they blocked with the pawn, I would just take the bishop, I think, and then trade queens. Well, let's see what else there is. If I take their bishop, I assume they'll take back, and then I do not have the check over here. Anything else? I can take this pawn, threatening their queen, but it could take, and then they wouldn't be guarding their bishop anymore. But I would have given up my bishop, or they could just move to keep protecting their bishop. I can't capture anything else. Let's see. I have undeveloped pieces, but that doesn't do any good. That I don't think does any good. I'm going to check queen to h4, and if they play the g-pawn, as I suspect they will, then I'm going to take their bishop with my queen, I think. They did move the g-pawn. Well, I don't think it makes sense to take the bishop with the bishop, because then they'll take my queen, and I'll take their queen, and they'll get my bishop and my queen for their bishop and their queen, so I'm just going to take the bishop and their queen. Okay, that was pretty difficult for rated 1700, at least for me, maybe. Wow. I might have reached my ceiling a little earlier than before. In the past, I've done a couple of these puzzle runs in the past before resetting my puzzle rating, and I've gotten up to, I think, 2200 and something one time, to the point where I couldn't solve any, or I would solve one, then fail one, solve one, then fail one, and you lose more points for failing them than you do for solving them, than you get for solving them slowly, so my rating was coming back down. That's why I reset and started over. But anyway, next. Shouldn't waste all that time talking. I am playing with the black pieces. That's over here. All right. Well, let's start with checks. I do have one. Looks like they have two fairly easy ways to get out of that. And then I would not want to take this pawn. I also have a check down here. Let's see, I don't have a bishop or anything. That would be nice if I had a bishop right here. Then I could, move the pawn with check. But let's see. So that's my only safe check. And I don't think there's any point in trying that one. I wouldn't gain anything after they took back. But if I check there and they go to h2 or g1, then what do I play? I guess I could then take this pawn. No. If I checked and they went to f1, then I would take the pawn and I would be threatening checkmate. But I can't take the pawn first because they can move up and then I don't have to check. What about this? Oh no, that's bad. Their rook's there. Wow. I was thinking of offering a queen trade in order to get a passed pawn, but that's still not technically a passed pawn. Well, nothing else makes sense to me other than this check. I have captures, but that looks really bad because of where their knight is. This pawn can't move. This pawn can't move. Neither one of those pawns can move, or that one. So I only have two pawns that can move. That doesn't make any sense, and that doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to check on f3, fingers crossed. Oh, and they moved there. Well, what if they had moved to h2? That's what I was worried about. Now I can take this pawn, and I'm threatening mate. Is that my best move? Well, let's look for checks again. You can use the checklist on multiple turns. That's still not good. I think there's no good follow-up to that. Same thing with taking their f-pawn. That's not good. This is a check. Also not good because they'll just take my queen. And I think those two checks are out as well because, again, I don't have a bishop back here protecting all of that. So I think I take the h-pawn, threatening mate. I don't know what they can do to stop it. They tried to run away. Well, should I advance the pawn or should I check? If I check, they have to come out, and then I advance the pawn? Oh, I could check here, force a queen trade, and then advance the pawn. Oh no, but then they could catch it. Oh wow, this is tough. Does checking accomplish anything? I don't think checking accomplishes anything. Well, what if I move the pawn, and then they put their rook up here? Then I can't go in there. Oh, then it won't matter because I could just take the rook because I'm about to promote. Oh, this is really hard. If I advance the pawn, they can't come after it because the pawn and the queen are guarding those two squares. But they could take this pawn, but then I would promote with check and they would have to give up their rook for the pawn. I don't know if I'd still be ahead at that point. Oh my, I'm going to push the pawn. Oh, and it stopped there. Oh my goodness. All right, well, that's all the time that I have for today. Thank you for stopping by. As always, I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time.